Okay.
Okay, so Common Core tools making curriculum units more accessible for ELS. The strengths of an ESL teacher includes patience, communication, cultural awareness, etc., focusing on making the best possible decisions for providing effective instruction to their students. They are masters at differentiated instruction, spending their days scaffolding that will grab an English learner's attention and provide support for them in their weak areas. This means they understand the individual needs of a student. An ESL teacher also seeks to understand a student's cultural background.
Using a template to make a curriculum accessible for ELS. To implement the CCSS with ELS, a critical component is to focus on the existing CCSS aligned English language arts curriculum framework and sequence the place is in and the testing setting which they work. A unit must be chosen from the existing curriculum and transfer that roadmap to the needs of ELS using a unit of study. Deeply analyze the language that ELS will need to acquire to be successful with the complete text as part of the existing curriculum, but outlining word level, sentence, and disclosure level language so students can use thought reading through reading, writing, speaking, and listening. If a CCSS is aligned with the curriculum unit, it makes it accessible to teach ELS.
Completing the unit template's key steps, identifying objectives and standards. Before being able to do a template, first we have to come up with essential questions for the unit, see what Common Core states are related to the unit. Content areas has to match to the state's English language proficiency standards, and also make sure it is appropriate for the grade level. The next step is to evaluate the text. It is important to determine if the text is appropriate for ELS, and even if there aren't, ELS can still be exposed to the text and use it as a learning experience. So when they are ready to be exposed to it, they already have some knowledge about it, but it's also very important that they get exposed to the grade level text and with the necessary support they need. The text that will be used is put into the template written with information on how it will be adapted, or if extra text selections will be used to help the students better comprehend the text.
Instructional components. You should always identify the elements of the unit while preparing the content. Things such as themes, topics, and concepts should be taken in consideration while preparing the content. It is also very important to keep in mind the language objectives, such as language level, word level, and if any background knowledge is needed to understand and master the content. Final objectives.
Examining socio-cultural context. As teachers, we have to take into consideration about the text we pick for students. Depending on the student's culture, they might not be able to identify to the text or relate to it. That's why we need an alternate text that they can relate that to so they can be able to complete the assignment.
Knowledge is needed to understand and master the content. Final objectives. Formative and summative assessments should be completed. These will measure the progress and growth of the students. And it's also a good way to measure the content standards and make sure the students are learning. Instructional components. You should always
Oh, sorry.
What is the best advice you've been given about teaching?